UFC Vegas 111, Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. I'm here to provide you my picks and predictions on the entire card. Of course, if you want all of these predictions as well as all of my premium plays for this fight card, please join the Discord. The link is in the channel description. Obviously, don't just do the UFC. Also, on this channel, I do run some NFL predictions as well, and a lean for every single game on the slate there, where we're over 13 units in profit. Profitable in the NBA season, profitable in tennis as well. So come lock in on the Discord. You get a free week with that monthly subscription of $14.99. And also, if you're watching this, you're on the YouTube channel. We're at about 700 something subs. Once we reach 1,000, we'll be doing a giveaway. So lock in, guys. Would love to do that giveaway before the end of the year if possible. And yeah, I mean, we're going to try to switch some things up here. Usually I go from the first fight of the night into the main event. We're going to switch it up, and we're going to start with the main event today. And because I'm dropping this a little later than usual, let's just get right to it. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Now, this is the last Bonfim brother to fight. We'll get to the other one later. But Randy's going to be 2 inches taller, 5.5-inch reach advantage, and a 5-inch leg reach advantage. I mean, we already know that Randy Brown's going to want to stay standing 100%. Now, Randy has won 4 of his last five fights. His only 2 losses since 2020 have been Jack Della, which is a champ, and Brian Battle, who obviously is not with the UFC anymore, but for different reasons. And it was a split decision win where he honestly was just pressured on the cage. It wasn't like he was getting pieced up. If anything, he was the one landing more against Brian Battle, who's primarily more of a stand-up fighter at this point. You know, he has grappling. He was showing that he had a lot of power, and he was kind of getting outmatched by Randy Brown just because of that range. I mean, Brian couldn't get in his own range, and I think that's going to be potentially a problem for someone like Bonfim in this fight. Now, Bonfim has won 3 in a row. He's won 5 of 6 UFC fights, not including Contender Series. That one loss against Dalby where he gassed out, looked good early, and then absolutely gassed out against someone like Dalby who just is relentless. I mean, it's so hard to put him away. But Randy Brown did put him away in his last fight, and I believe it's Dalby's first TKO loss, his first loss by finish in his career, and he got absolutely wrecked by Randy Brown. Now, we know Bonfim is going to want to take Randy Brown down. Not to say that Randy Brown has the best takedown defense, but 73% isn't terrible. Bonfim is averaging about 4 takedowns a fight, 55% takedown accuracy, which means he's attempting almost 8 takedowns a fight. And these are 3-rounders. We have to point that out. In a 5-rounder, if it gets to that point, who knows what this fight can look like entering the 3rd and 4th rounds. Is Bonfim going to be tired of trying to wrestle? Is Randy Brown going to be tired of just stuffing takedowns, and at that point he's just going to lay on his back for an entire round where he might potentially get subbed? There's so many different factors in this fight. I'm very curious to see how this one goes. I fear that it won't go the distance, though. I feel like someone will get finished, and it's either Randy Brown does it early or Bonfim takes him down and chokes him out. Now, we've seen him choked out before by Jack Della, but that was a lot of work on the feet by Madalena. So I'm very curious to see what those first 2 rounds are going to look like. I think obviously it's going to be a lot of Randy Brown staying level, staying in his own range, just not trying to back up on the cage. And Bonfim just waiting for that entry. A lot of leg kicks, a lot of calf kicks, just soft, just put some numbers out there, and then he's going to try to enter some type of double. We'll see what Randy's stance is and what he provides for Bonfim. It's an interesting matchup, and I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it's hard not to be biased when it comes to these fights because Randy Brown is from New York, and I'm from New York as well. So every fight I do root for him. I rarely go against Randy Brown, not just because of that, but I do like his fighting style. I think the last time I went against him was Jack Della. So 5 fights I've been riding with him, even with that loss against Brian Battle. And unfortunately, I kind of feel like I have to lean the Bonfim route because it's a 5-rounder. I just kind of feel like at some point he's going to be relentless. He's going to be able to get those takedowns. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he lost to Dalby. Randy Brown just smoked Dalby. And then, he looked terrible against Wonderboy. Wonderboy's a completely different striker than Randy Brown. And there are moments where Randy Brown does get hit, and he does kind of lets you suffocate him a bit on the cage. And I think that could happen a lot here. And that's my issue with being on the Randy Brown side. Now, Gabriel Bonfim is minus 184. Fairly priced. Probably should be a little lower, maybe 170. Was 205 at some point. It's going back up. I'm liking the Bonfim side. So, give me Gabriel Bonfim to win by submission or decision. Sorry, that was the main event, so kind of went more in depth, but we'll get to these other ones a bit quicker. Next fight, Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales. Now, Matt Schnell retired and then unretired after winning his last fight. 2 inches taller, 2-inch reach advantage, same leg reach advantage. Like I said, Schnelly, he fought Jimmy Flick. He beat the shit out of Jimmy Flick in his last fight. Prior to that, he lost 4 of his last 5. It was bad. All by finish. He was just getting finished left and right. His chin's just not there anymore. And then we have Joseph Morales, who fought August of 2025, won by sub. Before that, did lose a split decision in 2018, which was years ago, obviously. And his other loss in the UFC was Figgy. He did end up going, after losing, he did end up going to Cage Warriors. I mean, he's on a 3-4 fight win streak at this point, not including the Ultimate Fighter, obviously. Those first 2 exhibition matches before that one. And he was a pretty big underdog for that Ultimate Fighter fight. And he just came on top. I mean, he stuffed takedowns. He looked good on the feet. He's a small dude, but he's super scrappy. And this is a great matchup for him, I think. I think that he's just going to release those hands. At some point, Schnell is going to drop. Now, the odds for Joseph Morales, minus 420. Kind of nasty. I think he wins, but would rather just take a finish prop. He's probably going to have to finish Schnell. I don't think this is going to go the distance. You could probably get a better line by TKO, probably plus money. If not, take his finish. TKO or sub. You might still get minus 150, if not better. Who knows? Haven't really looked yet for that. So give me Joseph Morales to win by knockout or TKO. Muslim Salikhov versus Uroš Medić. Medić is 2 inches taller, 1-inch reach advantage, 2-inch leg reach advantage. Not too much, if Salikhov was facing, let's just say like a Randy Brown right now, maybe those spinning kicks won't work too much. But they could here. Medić, doesn't really guard or doesn't really defend his head too much. His head movement's pretty shaky. But Salikhov is old. Salikhov at this point, I believe he's 41. He's 41 and Medić is 32. There's a 9-year gap. Now Medić won his last fight by TKO in 1 minute and then lost to Soriano before that. It's just been up and down in his career. He's 2-2 in his last 4. Both of those losses were by finish, and he finished Tim Means and Urbina. Now, I kind of feel like he just beats, unks like Tim Means up. He could probably do the same to Salikhov. I know a lot of people are on the Salikhov side. Personally, I'm not buying it, so I'm going to stay away from that. The odds for Uroš Medić right now is minus 154. Not terrible, but just beware, probably doesn't go the distance. So you're kind of rooting for him to knock out Salikhov. That has been done before. So give me Uroš Medić to win by knockout or TKO. Next fight, Chris Padilla versus Ismael Bonfim, the other Bonfim brother fighting. Padilla's an inch taller, going to have the 2.5-inch reach advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. Padilla's been kind of on a roll. He's won 3 straight fights. He's 3-0 in the UFC. And he's won in every single way you can think of. Sub, TKO, and a split decision. Don't really think it was a split. I think he won pretty fair and square, but it was a close fight. Beat Rong Zhu by TKO. Choked out James Lontop. Now Lontop obviously no longer in the UFC because he's mid. But they've been just getting thrown people at, like Jai Herbert. I feel like a lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight, or even Rong Zhu, to be honest. I remember a lot of people saying he was going to lose that fight. I'm pretty sure I faded him in one of those 2 fights. I believe it was Rong Zhu. I did fade him, which was dumb. But regardless, Ismael Bonfim just lost to Salikhov. He just got his ass beat for 5 minutes. But we know Salikhov is an absolute savage, so it's not, to his fault. But he's 2-2 in the UFC, not including Contender Series. And he took Vince Pichel to decision. Kind of nasty. Now, I do think that his striking has been looking better. Salikhov is much more proven striker, I would say, than Chris Padilla. So I don't want to really see it that way. I just think that Bonfim's going to be able to land a takedown, might be even able to hurt Chris Padilla and then take him out that way. Now, I will say he's the only fighter that missed weight by 5 pounds, and people are saying he looked hurt, he looked tired, he looked like he didn't move his shoulder, blah, blah, blah. I'm not buying any of that. I'm still going to be on the... Obviously, I make my predictions before weigh-ins because I have to review film all week to be able to do this. So I already had my decision, and I'm not going to change it because of speculation. I think that he's the more proven fighter. I think that on the feet he's better, but I think that he might be able to actually take him down and choke him out there. If not, at least win 2 rounds. Now, Ismael Bonfim, the line is going down, obviously. He was minus 215. Now he's minus 154. If that line gets anywhere near minus 130 or 135, best believe I will be on that for sure. But regardless, give me Ismael Bonfim to win by submission or decision. Next up, CLD Christian Leroy Duncan versus Marco Tulio. Now, Tulio got the same John Jones tattoo. I mean, anyways. CLD's 2 inches taller, 4.5 inch reach advantage, and 1 inch leg reach advantage. Obviously, exactly what CLD needs in a matchup like this because Tulio has a lot of power and he also can grapple. Very scary matchup for CLD. Now, CLD has won 2 in a row. He did TKO Eric Anders in his last fight and then won by decision prior to that. I mean, his 2 losses, I would say personally, aren't bad losses. He is 5-2 in the UFC. He lost to Armin Petrosian in his second fight of in his UFC career, second fight, and he was just kind of fucking around. Really, it just looked like he wasn't serious. He won his first one by TKO, and he was just very unserious, and that's why he lost. Armin was just piecing him up the entire time. Won 2 fights after that, and then lost to Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez just able to outclass him, wrestle him. Just was the better fighter and is the better fighter at this point. But listen, Rodriguez, RoboCop is out here main eventing Apex cards, so not a bad loss, and has won 2 in a row since then. Now, Marco Tulio is also undefeated in the UFC. He's won 2 straight. He had 2 Contender Series fights. He has won 2 straight, Io Potiera and Tresean Gore, both by TKO. Now, I do think CLD is better than them. My one thing is Tulio also, 20% takedown accuracy, not the best. I don't know if he's going to be able to take down CLD, and if he doesn't, is he going to be able to reach CLD to hurt him? I kind of don't think so. Right now, CLD is plus 154. I like that price. Price keeps going up. I love it. I think he wins. There's a chance he could finish him, but I'm going to say he's probably going to play it safe early. There's openings and the chance late in the second, probably in the third somewhere. He might take it, but I think Tulio is super tough. And this fight, honestly, is a coin flip. And I'm going to go with the dog. So give me Christian Leroy Duncan to win by decision. Hyder Amil versus Jamall Emmers. Now, Emmers is 1 inch taller, 4 inch reach advantage, 2 inch leg reach advantage. Now, Hyder Amil just got absolutely cooked against Jose Delgado by knee in 26 seconds. Now, if you rewatch that predictions video, I told you exactly what Jose Delgado was going to do. He was going to knee the shit out of him and finish him. And that's what happened in 26 seconds. Big fan of Hyder Amil, to be honest. I think he's very good. I think he's very well-rounded. He has the wrestling. He has the power. Kind of leaves his chin up in the air, clearly. And that was a problem for someone like Jose Delgado. Is it going to be a problem against someone like Jamall Emmers? Not so sure. Jamall Emmers has not won back-to-back fights in the UFC. He's been in the UFC since 2020. He has not won He's lost, win, lost, win, lost, win, lost, win. He won his last fight, and he hasn't won 2 in a row. I don't think it happens here. Hyder Amil right now is minus 150. Kind of don't like that price. People are betting on him. It was kind of a pick 'em at opening odds on October 30th, and now he's just kind of ballooned to minus 150. I don't like that price. I think Jamall Emmers could present some type of problems, but I think at some point he probably gets taken down and Hyder Amil plays it safe. Give me Hyder Amil to win by decision. Next up, Ricky Simón versus Raoni Barcelos. Now, Raoni's going to be an inch taller and have a 1-inch leg reach advantage, but Ricky Simón's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, which could work wonders with his nice little looming hooks that he likes to throw. Ricky Simón, at some point, was on a 3-fight losing streak, but listen, he lost to Song Yadong, Mario Bautista, and Vinicius Oliveira, and he only got finished by one of those in the 5th round against Song Yadong. Since then, he's won 2 fights. He knocked out Javid Basharat, and he kind of beat the hell out of Cameron Smotherman as well, took him down, just controlled him, just was able to do anything he wanted. And now he has Raoni Barcelos, who's kind of riding a win streak as well. He's won 3 in a row, also 2 by decision, 1 by sub. Smoked Christian Quinones. He beat Payne Talbot, just absolute masterclass by Raoni, and then he just beat Cody Garbrandt, where it was close at first, and then he just was able to pull away. It's hard to go against someone like Raoni because of what he's doing right now, but he's 5 years older right now. Simón, I feel like, might have just a little bit more momentum because of his youth, because of his the power on the feet that he possesses. I think he's just going to outwork Raoni. I think he's going to hit him with something, and Raoni's just kind of take a step back, and it's not going to be pretty for him. Ricky Simón, right now, minus 172. Not the prettiest line, I'm not going to lie, but I think he gets the job done. Give me Ricky Simón to win by TKO or decision. Next up, Mayra Bueno Silva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Now, Cavalcanti is going to be 2 inches taller, 3.5-inch reach advantage, 2-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Cavalcanti, she is 4-0 in the UFC, all by decision. 2 splits, which have been shaky. Did win a unanimous decision back in February. Mayra Bueno Silva has lost 3 in a row and almost won 4 in a row before that no contest. She's fighting obviously stiff competition at this point, but she's slower on the feet. I mean, if she doesn't get that takedown, it could be cooked for her. Cavalcanti's kind of just on the up and up. She's shining at the moment. I try to find ways to fade Cavalcanti here, and I just can't, to be honest. I think she's just a better fighter. She's just a more improved Mayra Bueno Silva, especially on the feet. Cavalcanti minus 250, rightfully so. Not something I want to play per se, but is a rightful favorite. So give me Jacqueline Cavalcanti to win by TKO or decision. Next up, Josh Hokit versus Max Gimenis. Now, same height. This is Gimenis' debut, but I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I think Hokit is the better fighter. He has more power in his hands. I think he probably puts Gimenis out in the first round. Probably the first half of the round. Now, Gimenis right now is minus 420. Listen, I'm not going to say there isn't any value on Gimenis because plus 310 for a heavyweight, it's not bad. Because of their fighting style, especially Hokit, he can get correct as well. I just don't like it in this spot specifically, but it could happen. So give me Josh Hokit to win by knockout or TKO. Next up, Tecia Pennington versus Denise Gomes. Now, Gomes is going to be an inch taller, have the 2.5-inch reach advantage, and the 1/2-inch leg reach advantage. We'll start with Tecia Pennington. Tecia Pennington is on a 2-fight win streak. She beat Carla Esparza, where Esparza did land some takedowns, but just got absolutely outclassed on the feet. We actually took Pennington live in that fight because she lost the first round, and she was an underdog after that, and she did not disappoint. And then she just beat Luana Pinheiro, where Pinheiro, also funny enough, took her down 5 times, and just wasn't able to do enough. Tecia Pennington has outstruck her last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. Even though she's lost 2 of them, one to Dern by split decision and Tabitha Ricci by split decision, she outstruck them both. Mackenzie Dern had 3 sub attempts, and Tabitha Ricci had 1 takedown. And in that takedown, she was 1 for 10 on takedown attempts, and she had 5 minutes and 15 seconds of control, which is really the reason why. And we were on Ricci in that fight, and even I was like, listen, I don't know, but I'm not going to say anything. Before those 2 losses, 3-fight win streak. Obviously, she took a break between 2022 and 2024, came back in a split decision loss, and then she came back after that and has won 2 fights in a row. Her hands still look super clean. I know she's, she's past her prime at this point, but that break kind of did her wonders. She's 2-0, 2-1, I'm sorry, since coming back. And I don't know if Denise Gomes is really a problem for her. Denise Gomes has won 3 fights in a row, don't get me wrong. And she, ever since like that loss to Lugubumi in her second UFC fight, she's really been trying to implement those takedowns as well, because she was presented as, oh, like I have a lot of power on the feet. I can just punch you and like, I look scary. I got a buzz cut. I feel you. Gets taken down by Angela Hill, loses. 3-fight win streak since then. Mayra, Kowalkiewicz, Elise Reed. I think personally, Tecia Pennington is better than all 3 of those girls. I think Tecia Pennington presents problems clearly on the feet. She's going to outstrike Denise Gomes most likely. Is she going to land the harder shots? Probably not. It really depends on if she's able to stuff a takedown. If she's able to stuff those takedowns, she wins this fight on the feet. Now, Tecia Pennington, right now, it's so funny. They still say Tecia Torres here. She's a dog, plus 150. At the very least, you should consider taking her for plus 3.5. She wins around here, at the very least. At the very least. So, anyways, give me Tecia Pennington as a dog to win by decision. Next fight, Miles Johns versus Daniel Marcos. Now, they're going to have the same height. Going to be the same height. Daniel Marcos is going to be an inch taller and have the 2.5-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Daniel Marcos did, in fact, lose his last fight to Montel Jackson, who just got beat up by Figgy. He had some control as well, 5 minutes and 45 seconds, 3 for 7 takedown attempts. It was kind of a weird fight, to be honest, where neither was doing a lot, but Montel Jackson was kind of just doing a bit more, leading the dance a bit more. Daniel Marcos was a little bit more reserved than what we've seen. Before that, he was undefeated in his MMA career. He did have a no contest 3 fights ago, which he was winning that fight. So he honestly should be 5-0 in the UFC, but he's 4-1-1. And then we have Miles Johns, who has lost 2 in a row to Gene Matsumoto by split, and then Felipe Lima. Now, Lima is a very good fighter. Obviously just lost to Payne Talbot, and Matsumoto is a very good fighter as well. Had a weird loss on short notice against Rob Font. Probably should have won that fight, but comes back, beats Miles Johns, which I think he kind of deserved that. Now, Miles Johns, I think, is kind of at the... He's still young. I can't say he's at the tail end of his career. He's like 31 still. But he's just getting kind of outclassed. He's just kind of getting outclassed. He's just seems like the shorter dude. Like, he just doesn't really know how to use his power and his strength a lot. And it's annoying because he presents problems on the feet most of the time, but he just doesn't take advantage of that. Which is why I think Daniel Marcos bounces back against, like, Montel Jackson loss is not the same as a Miles Johns loss. I think he's going to play it safe. He's going to implement a lot of leg kicks, a lot of calf kicks early. Just stay safe against Miles Johns. Make sure he doesn't take you down, and you win the fight. Daniel Marcos is minus 194. Rightful price. I think that should be fair. He wins that first round. He's going to balloon up to a minus 500 immediately. Give me Daniel Marcos to win by decision. Next up and last fight, Zachary Reese versus Jackson McVey. Now, they're going to be the same height, same reach, and McVey's going to have the 2-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Jackson McVey has had 3 opponents in the last 2 days. He did lose his first fight in the UFC by armbar against Bruno Ferreira. Bruno's just been looking really good. And Zach Reese, I mean, no contest against Dumas, but before that, he beat Dusko by decision, which was a nasty, nasty win. Lost to Bekaev. Bekaev just smoked him, and then he was on a 2-fight win streak before that. He's had a very weird career. And listen, they haven't really been training for each other. I think after that no contest, Zachary just wanted to fight. He needed to fight to kind of wash that bad taste out of his mouth. And I think that he's able to win this fight. This is one of those fights where you just don't even go, like, you could tape, but these dudes barely had time either. I'm going to go with who I think is way more skilled. I think can present problems everywhere. He can get caught because he's a bit chinny. But I think Zach Reese gets it done. Now, Zach Reese is minus 320. For someone who can get finished, I'm not going to love that. I'm not going to take that. But I do think he wins. So give me Zach Reese to win by submission. And that's my UFC Vegas 111 full card predictions. Of course, like I said, if you want my full plays, join the Discord. The link is in the channel description. Like I said, you get a free week with that. And I don't just do the UFC. We crush literally every other sport you can think of. So come and join us there, especially right before NFL this weekend, where we're looking to build on that 13-unit season so far. We had almost a 5-unit week last week. We're trying to build on that as well. So come join us there. Sub here. Once we reach 1,000 subs, we'll be doing a giveaway. I appreciate you all. I hope you guys have a wonderful, safe, blessed rest of your week. And let's keep cashing.